A reading from Book 2, the chapter called Nothing to Forgive. Living your life from the perspective of having nothing to forgive can be compared to an athlete's ability to operate from a position of immense strength. A person of such power feels little impact when additional weight is placed upon his back. Likewise, a wealthy person bears little injury if someone steals a sum of money from her. These examples are representative of the spiritual ability to A. Experience no wounding from the actions of another, thereby B. Creating no obligation to forgive the other, and C. Compassionately releasing others from any obligation to make amends. The fundamentals behind this process are this. When you react with anger and hurt to those things that appear to be injustices, you cause a dynamic to be set up between you and the supposed offender, which requires further interaction between the both of you in order for the issue to be resolved. On the other hand, when you deliberately choose to spare yourself and others this mutual debt, you advance by leaps and bounds not only because you're embracing personal freedom, but because you are extending the opportunity to do the same to the other person, even without their request that you do so. You are paying it forward. You're duplicating for someone else the gift you are giving yourself. And you are following in the footsteps of the masters of antiquity. For you are acting as an agent of grace, that element characterized by giving with no strings attached, that which has not been earned. When your true goal is to neither receive nor inflict any wounding, and by doing so to minimize another person's connection to the obligation of recompense, then you become a conscious participant in the mission of healing humanity's collectively accumulated emotional ensnarement. If all grudges and hurts, real or imagined, must be eventually cleansed on the side of the party who embraced them, then why delay this cleansing? Why not free oneself of all future obligations of this kind by tossing with trust and faithful abandonment any lingering resentments that haunt your mind into the sea of light, which absorbs all pain and darkness and purifies it with its churning waters. You cannot become free while you continue to mentally review all the perceived injustices in your life or the lives of others. Let this sea of light do the job for you. Offer up any unforgiveness in your heart to the greater good. Hand over your futile efforts to control anyone's choices but your own, confident that the underlying principles of operation that govern the balancing of energies, motivations, and actions will adjust all things fairly. When you learn to move through the world without interpreting the actions of others as personally hurtful to you, you break free of the cycle of personal compensation and obligation. This is accomplished by becoming so spiritually porous that like a sponge your capacity to absorb and your ease in releasing what you've absorbed makes you an entity of free-flowing proportion. As a result, when the impartial system of universal law weighs the degrees of entanglement within your experience, it hears only one thing from you. There is nothing to pay and nothing to forgive, leaving you free from further involvement in the issue. Once you release that which binds you and experience what it is like to brush up against the infinite beauty of divine love, your perspective of personal pain shall be forever altered. In that moment you will release the full force of your own soul's intrinsic love for all humanity, and by doing so set in motion a fresh, new cycle of pure energy that carries with it no traces of lingering judgment or condemnation. When you choose to act with the spirit of absolvement, you find that your love for others, your love for your team, and your love for yourself come together as one great leap of compassionate pardon that relieves everyone involved from further indebtedness. This can occur instantly in a moment of true spiritual clarity, and when it does, nothing will ever be the same again. All the energy that was formerly tied up in sustaining pain and anger will be suddenly unshackled and available for higher purposes. It's as if a tremendous debt has been removed from your life, and you no longer have to work 3 jobs to pay for it. The world becomes an entirely different place for you to live in. You experience an instantaneous lightening of spirit, much like a horse feels when the saddle is removed from his back and the bit from his mouth. Your spirit takes off in leaps and bounds. To launch this process in your own life, I invite you to begin by offering pre-forgiveness each morning when you arise. This means you will consciously send forth a wave of forgiveness ahead of you, extended to all those you meet and all those you will not meet directly, but whose vibrations you will encounter in the form of what you call circumstances. When all this becomes real to you, you begin to lose the fear that is at the root of unforgiveness. You understand that nothing and no one can take from you any particle of love you have ever shared with anyone, for you carry that love within you wherever you may go. You become unafraid of releasing your grip of control on emotions that bind you. For it is fear of losing control over oneself, one's relationships, one's belongings, one's memories, and even one's emotional ensnarements that cause us to linger in unforgiveness. Somehow we think that by continuing to direct our disdain at someone, we are in control of the situation, but nothing could be further from the truth. Such fear is controlling you. Losing this fear allows you to enter into a truly liberated state, and it is this state of being that you want to offer to others. For it is this state that can free others from any further debt to you. Their freedom becomes your freedom. For the chains that bind come from 2 directions. There is such nobility in such a state of being, in the act of automatic compassionate deflection, a nobility of the caliber of the masters. I send this message to you on tender wings of hope, that you may grow to offer the world this gift, and in doing so, offer yourself a doorway to infinite peace and spiritual advancement of the highest order.
To live.